What's cracking, everybody? It's your favorite starving musician, Jackie Jordan, back with another video. And today, we have a lot to discuss. Now, before we get into it, do me a favor. Click the like on this video, click the subscribe button, click the little bell next to it so you get a notification every time I drop a video. And after you get done listening to this intriguing piece of content, I want you to leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Alright, let's get into it. Now, guys, I'm finna react to two songs. I really don't have much to say about them, so bear with me. But Kendrick the other day dropped, actually the day right after I dropped my last response, he dropped another response to Drake called Not Like Us. I wasn't going to react to that one because on my last video I had already said Kendrick pretty much won the battle with Meet the Grams. Not necessarily because I think that it was such a great diss song, but mostly because I knew that the narratives that was going to follow the song, Drake couldn't come back from. And I was like, I don't really know if there's anything Drake could say after this song that will give them the lead in this battle. So I pretty much gave Kendrick the win after Meet the Grams. But the following day after that, he dropped another record called Not Like Us. I didn't really like it as a diss because he basically was just repeating everything he had said in Meet the Grams. But I did like it as a song, and I wasn't going to react to it because, I mean, he had already pretty much won in my eyes. There was nothing that Drake could do or say that was going to be able to allow him to cover up enough ground to come out victorious in this battle. So I felt like Not Like Us was pretty much a victory lap for Kendrick. It was the proverbial Call of Duty teabag. He was pretty much rubbing it in his face. So I believe Kendrick pretty much already took the battle before dropping Not Like Us. Now today, maybe about an hour ago, Drake just released his response called The Heart Part 6. And y'all, it is fire. It's probably Drake's best diss so far in this entire battle. He was talking strictly about Kendrick, which is a plus for me, because the thing that I thought Drake lost this battle was whenever he dropped Family Matters and he was going at pretty much everybody but Kendrick. He waited. He saved bars for Kendrick. He waited to give us the big T on Kendrick at the end, but that was after us already having to sit through 5 minutes of him talking about Ross, Weeknd, Rocky, and pretty much everyone else who has been dissing him throughout all of this time. So I think that was the mistake that kind of was the nail in the coffin for Drake, because when Kendrick came and he stepped on it, I knew that Meet the Grams was a strong enough record, and Kendrick was coming with a lot of accusations that Drake is such a big artist, that saying that Drake is a pedophile or that he likes young girls, and really doubling down on that angle. I knew that there was enough people out in the world who don't like Drake, or, you know, just all of the artists that are collaborating and trying to take him down. I just knew that the narratives that was going to come out of the song was going to be too big for Drake to overcome. So I was very happy with the song that he just dropped, The Heart Part 6. Unfortunately, that's the song I wish he would have dropped before he dropped Family Matters. If he would have dropped this right after 616, well, obviously it wasn't, he didn't make it by then because he was responding to Meet the Grams. But if he would have held off a little bit, like I said, he should have just kind of gave that record some time to breathe. I knew he was trying to step on Kendrick release, but he wasn't anticipating that Kendrick was going to step on his release. And I think just in terms of the battle, being that Drake kind of took his attention off Kendrick to address these other artists, I think that kind of weakened the blow of the T that he had to drop on Kendrick. And then on top of that, like I said, I had a problem with the beat. Like, that wasn't the beat that I wanted to hear him respond to. He had already kind of gave us that version of Drake. I kind of wanted to hear something else for him to go at Kendrick, because Kendrick is a different type of beast. So I think that was the misstep there. Now, in terms of this entire Drake record, The Heart Part 6, he's talking about a lot of stuff. He's offering a rebuttal to Kendrick. So he was saying that basically he and his team was feeding Kendrick fake information, knowing that Kendrick would then go and use it in a diss song. And to be honest, I don't really believe that. Only because I don't really see why would Drake want Kendrick, as big as he is, to say that he had another child out there, knowing that a lot of people really don't care whether it's true or not. You know, it's just about the lie. Like, people don't care about the truth if the lie is more entertaining. So I don't know if I'm buying, Drake saying that, yeah, we've just been feeding you fake information, because I've pulled that move before. I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. Like, one time I was, and one of my ex-girlfriends, she was a little thotty. She was fucking around on the side. She was fucking with this other dude or whatever. And when I found out about it, I had messaged the dude or whatever. And I was like, yo, homie, you know this my girl. Why you messing with my girl? And he was like, oh, well, she didn't say she was your girl or whatever. Look at the text messages. And then I lied and I was like, no, that was me texting you from her phone this whole time, just so I can save face, so I won't look so bad, right? But that's a lie. Like, I don't really know if I'm buying Drake saying, no, we've just been feeding you fake information, because I don't really see the point in that. I guess maybe if it's a part of his strategy, maybe he wasn't anticipating the angle that Kendrick was going to come from in terms of the child abuse type stuff. But I just don't know if I'm buying that. And then on top of that, he kind of doubled down on Kendrick beating his wife and saying that he hasn't seen his kid since 6 months and that the kid is Dave Freeze. And I said that on the last reaction. I was like, Drake could have gave us 7 minutes of him talking about Kendrick beating his wife, and I think it would have been a much stronger diss song. It would have been a much better strategic move. I think he lost the battle by taking his eyes off the prize to address those other artists. So he basically was just, doubling down on that. And then he also made sure to say that he's not a child abuser. He's not into young girls. He pretty much said that I'm basically too big for that. If there was any proof or evidence of me doing that, trust me, I would be in jail. And he said the real reason why you're trying to use that angle is because you yourself was molested, and basically you're just trying to project that off on me. Again, like I said it in my last reaction, I said Kendrick can lie to win the battle against Drake, but you can't win the war off of lies. Like, people will say Kendrick won this battle even if he's lying, because they don't really care about the truth. They just want Drake out of the paint. It's so many people, who just want Drake out of the paint. They don't care if it's a lie or not. They just want some type of salacious information that they can latch onto to say, hey, Drake's a bad guy, stop playing his music. So Kendrick can definitely win this battle off of lies, but if the goal is to eliminate Drake, to basically end his career or ruin him, you're not going to do that with lies. So you're going to have to come with proof. You're going to have to come with evidence. And the angle that Kendrick was approaching in Meet the Grams, it didn't really hit for me as a diss song, and just from a standpoint of, okay, he's dissecting them lyrically, he's psychoanalyzing him. Like, it made it a strong diss, and it was also very disrespectful. So as a diss, it was strong. But if you're just a person who kind of cares about truth and if that has any bearing on how you judge the actual bars, I don't really think that if Kendrick doesn't have any proof, I think that kind of weakens the bars a little bit. Because think about it, 10 years from now when we're reflecting on this battle and we listen to Meet the Grams and we hear Kendrick talking about Drake, he likes young women, he's a pedophile, he's like Harvey Weinstein, he has an 11-year-old child. 10 years from now, if we're thinking like, well, none of that's true. Drake, in fact, doesn't have an 11-year-old child. Drake, in fact, has never been accused for molesting a young girl or for liking young girls. We're going to look back at Kendrick's song and we're going to think, oh, it didn't really hit the same. Now, we're in the heat of the moment, and on the internet, people like to take things and run with it, so I can understand why people are still pretty much buzzing about that. But Kendrick is the one who gave us the revelation on that, so he's going to have to be the one to provide proof in order for me especially to buy it, because everybody knows Drake is my favorite rapper. I'm not going to stop listening to Drake just off of some lies and some allegations. Like, I got to see proof. I'm also notoriously a huge fan of Michael Jackson, right? People have been saying, oh, he's molested young kids for years, but they have never provided one piece of evidence. The FBI investigated Michael Jackson for 10 to 15 years without him knowing, and they never found one piece of information saying that Michael Jackson actually did do this. So they can't change the way I look at Michael Jackson based off of allegations, the same way you're not going to change the way I look at Drake based off of allegations. You got to come with the proof. You got to show me evidence. And when people are saying, oh, Drake has an 11-year-old daughter, when I first hear that, I didn't buy that, because just using logic, use your fucking brain. How are you going to put a child off on somebody else? Unless you've seen a birth certificate with this person's name on it, signed by them, unless you've seen a paternity test, how can you 100% certainty say that this is this person's child? So, of course, the internet is going to run with it because they just want to see Drake fail. But I don't really give a fuck what the internet thinks. I've never been a follower. I've always been an independent thinker. And to me, it just doesn't add up. Like, come on now. You have to show me some evidence that this is actually his child. If this was actually Drake's child, then why are we just now hearing about it 11 years later? If this is actually Drake's child, then how come the baby mother of this child has not been trying to get some of that $1 billion fortune that Drake has? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I don't see how one person can just put a fucking story out there and they have no evidence. So that's kind of where I believe that Drake actually did feed Kendrick this false information, because I can definitely see somebody from Drake's camp telling Kendrick like, yo, he has an 11-year-old child, and then Kendrick like, oh, word, bet, and without doing any investigation going and putting it in a song. I can 100% see that happening. But just to pull something out of thin air, like, no. And even with the whole Drake is a pedophile angle that Kendrick has been going at, like, that's something that's kind of being pulled from thin air, because although I have heard that there were some text messages or something between Drake and a child actor, and I actually think I probably saw the messages, which kind of looked a little weird, I'm not going to be honest, but I didn't know if that actually came from Drake. We didn't hear anything out of that situation, whether it being confirmed or denied. We've never heard any allegations of Drake being into young girls. There's never been anything of that nature. And if I'm being honest, the first time I've ever heard anything about Drake and some young girls was after he dropped For All the Dogs, and Joe Budden was giving his critique on it. And he was basically talking about Drake need to stop fucking 25-year-olds because he is pushing 40. So Joe Budden was saying that Drake needs to stop fucking with 25-year-olds. And then Drake got really triggered by that, and he started responding and, dissing Joe Budden or whatever. And the reason why Drake got triggered by that is because he thought that Joe was taking a personal attack at him, saying that he likes young girls. Even though 25 is a legal age, obviously there's a big difference between, what is Drake, 38, 39, and 25, 24. There's definitely a big age gap there. So Drake really isn't doing anything different from any other nigga in the industry with money. They all like young girls. Look at fucking Diddy and Young Miami. Like, come on, if we can't move the goalposts for certain shit if it doesn't fit our narrative. That's the type of shit I don't rock with. I've always been consistent in this entire shit. Everybody knows that I was rooting for Drake in this battle. But I was the first one to come out and say, yes, Kendrick won this shit. I said Kendrick won before we got the last two diss records. That's because I'm not biased in the sense to where I have the ability to judge it and to call it like I see it. And I know that people are going to run with whatever narrative that's put out there at Drake because they just don't want to see him on top anymore. You know, that's just what it is. And although I really like this Heart Part 6 record, I definitely think it definitely closed the gap a little bit. Because prior to him dropping that shit, it was looking like a wash. Like, you know, Kendrick really just was like, nigga, Drake, you not even in my league, dog. Like, it was really looking like that. Now, when Drake dropped Heart Part 6, it kind of closed that gap a little bit for me. But was it enough for him to take the lead? Was it enough for him to win? I don't really know, man. Like, honestly, in my opinion, I still say Kendrick won because at the end of the day, I feel like this was a battle that Drake could never win to begin with. You know, not because he doesn't have the skills, not because he's not as talented as Kendrick, but because people are so ready for the demise of Drake that they pretty much were going to side with Kendrick no matter what happened. The only way in which Drake could have won this battle is if Kendrick came out and he dropped the worst diss song of all time and he was basically taking too long to respond and Drake was just spinning the block on him time and time again. I think that's the only way, because only then would it have been so definitive that even the Kendrick fans wouldn't have no choice but to say, okay, you know, Kendrick kind of let us down here, like we was expecting more. But I think no matter what happened, they were always going to say Kendrick won, because we look at all of the artists, the rappers in the industry who basically been having to play second fiddle to Drake and having to push their albums back and having to get certain records cleared and not getting Grammys for certain projects. Like, people were really just ready for Drake to go away. On top of that, since the beginning of time, since Drake first even got in the industry, people have been criticizing him, saying that he's too soft, he's light-skinned, this and that, you know, because they don't like the idea of this light-skinned Jewish Canadian nigga being on top of black culture. Like, people didn't like that from day one. So you got all of those people, and then you have all of the Kendrick fans who have been anti-Drake since day one. You know, these two artists, their hives has been at war with each other since day one, including myself. So I just think all of the stars were aligned for Kendrick to win this battle and for Drake to lose. And that's not to say that Kendrick only won this battle because people are dick riders, because Kendrick Lamar definitely gained a new level of my respect. He's been saying he's the Candyman for years. He finally showed up and proved it. You know, he did his thing, and he did it in a way and that only he can do it. And for that, Kendrick Lamar has my utmost respect. But apart from that, I'm very satisfied with this rap battle. As a fan, we've gotten great music. We've gotten great records. I will definitely say it's definitely top 3 rap beefs of all time. Um, Obviously, the number one being Tupac, Biggie, East Coast, West Coast. You know, what that did for the culture in the 90s and the golden age, I don't really think that can be topped. Um, Other than that, it's a debate between Drake and Kendrick or Nas and Jay-Z, but it's undoubtedly top three rap beef of all time. And I don't think either artist comes out of this um, looking bad. I think each of them showed up and proved why they are who they are. Um, I don't really know what else I can say other than that. So props to both artists. As a fan of both, I'm very satisfied. I'm very happy they gave us this moment for the culture. And now, what I hope to see come from this is, I really hope Drake, takes some time off. As a diehard Drake fan, I think some of the stuff that's starting to happen is looking really funny in the light. And I think it's best for Drake to follow the signs. This is a sign from God. This is an epiphany that, hey, you need to watch your back. You need to watch the people around you. And when you get to the top, the apex, man, it's very lonely at the top. And for his mental health, for his safety, I really just want Drake to back out a little bit, I think from a music standpoint, over the last couple of years, his music has been kind of hit and miss for me. In certain areas, he reminds me why he is my favorite rapper, and then in other times, he just reminds me why, maybe it's time for him to put the pen away, and focus on other things, because the music, it's like when you reach so much success like a Drake, it's like you're in competition with yourself. He's going to always be in competition with a younger version of himself. And I just don't think that he'll be able to top what he's already done. It's been a great run, probably the greatest run. And it's just kind of hard to compete with that, as you get older and as you mature. Kendrick had an interesting line in one of those songs where he was like, I know you call yourself the boy, but where's the man? Because I haven't seen him yet. And that's kind of been a critique that I've had on Drake over the recent years, is that, you still kind of rapping and behaving like you still the young nigga in the game when you are in fact getting older. And I kind of want to hear that more mature Drake and that reflective Drake. And I just want to see a different version of him, because I think this version of him has kind of run its course. It's kind of gotten a bit stale. But you can't take away from his legacy. The only thing that can take down his legacy is if some allegations come out, or some facts, some evidence that's saying he really is a sick person. I think that's the only thing that will taint his legacy for me. But other than that, what can I say? It's been amazing to experience. But that's pretty much all I got for y'all right now. I want to thank all of y'all for watching these reaction videos, for keeping up with my content, for showing me love on social media. I really respect it. I don't really think I'm going to be doing any more videos on this topic. I may do a podcast where I have a few people on and we basically debrief this battle. But outside of that, if any more records come, I don't really know if I'll react to it, because I think I've kind of already got my mind made up. I think we've got enough records. We got like 10 records, y'all. So, we can't expect these two guys to just rap forever, for our entertainment. So we've got more than enough to go off to where we can declare a winner. Not only that, but Drake and The Heart Part 6 said that, I don't want to rap with you no more. So I'm taking that as Drake is waving the right flag. He's saying, okay, this is it for me. And I'm not mad at him. I'm not going to hold it against him or whatever. Because, in my opinion, the battle's pretty much always already over. So there's no point in just beating the dead horse. On top of that, I don't really know what else Kendrick would have to say in another response record other than just beating the dead horse and repeating what he's already said. So I don't know if I'll be reacting to this beef anymore. But if you enjoy content like this, go ahead and click the like on this video. Click the subscribe for our channel. Click the notification bell so you get a notification every time I drop a video. And leave me a comment down below. Do you think Drake won this battle? Do you think Kendrick won? Do you think it's over? Do you think some more records are coming? What was the record in which you thought, okay, this is the one that seals it. This is the one that's over. Let me know what you think in the comments. But other than that, man, y'all be breezy. And until we meet again, peace out, y'all.